My name is Lorali, and I'm so excited to start this YouTube channel because I'm obsessed with Star Wars, and I want to be able to engage regularly with the Star Wars community and geek out about what we love and to hear different perspectives about what we like about shows or any Star Wars content, and to further engage with the community. So with that being said, I'm super excited to get into my thoughts about Tales of the Jedi. I think this show is desperately needed, like desperately needed for the state that Star Wars is in right now. Severe rehabilitation, okay? Like severe after some of the stuff that we've seen lately. Because there seems to be a fundamental discrepancy over at either Disney or Lucasfilm about what Star Wars is. And that's going from a deep emotional level all the way to how a lightsaber should work. Exhibit A is this scene from Kenobi that quite literally keeps me up at night. Anyways, I digress. I think this show really establishes that there's still hope for future Star Wars content because Dave Filoni so brilliantly captures the essence of Star Wars in this show. For instance, he expanded characters, specifically Dooku, someone we knew very little about, without destroying his ethos. Nor did he need to tear down another character's ethos to be able to build Dooku up. He didn't need to villainize Mace Windu for me to sympathize with Dooku. He didn't need to do that. All the attributes that I saw Mace Windu have are true to his character. So they didn't need to make Windu out to be someone that he wasn't just to make me see Dooku in a new light. They just did that by showing what Dooku was passionate about, what he wasn't okay with staying silent on, and how other Jedi were okay with staying silent. Not only were they okay with staying silent, they were rewarded for being silent. They were rewarded for not questioning the order and given a seat in the council in this instance. So I really think that whoever the heck at Star Wars or Disney or Lucasfilms is making future Star Wars content, okay? Learn what Dave Filoni so brilliantly accomplished here and taught us, that you do not have to tear down a character that we love to make us fall in love with a new character or a new idea. It just needs to make sense and have legitimate value. I think you're really risking them connecting with a new character if you tear down someone that they already love. For instance, you don't need to make me hate Luke for me to love Rey, right? The same way that they didn't need to villainize Anakin during the Clone Wars to make us accept and fall in love with Ahsoka. We fell in love with Ahsoka because we saw her grow up. If anything, it added a lot of depth to Anakin. It added a lot of love and sympathy for Anakin, seeing him going from simply a Padawan to this is our first time seeing him as a master, and how we even saw his struggles with the Jedi Order and his own teachings to Ahsoka. So the very fact that the Star Wars community was able to embrace Ahsoka with open arms and want more of her and cheer her on, and being the Chosen One's apprentice, I think that just proves that they don't understand that we are capable of loving more. And I really think that that's a lesson that whoever the heck is making this stuff, they really need to understand, is bring value, don't tear people down. So overall, getting deeper into this, it was so short. I wanted it to be longer, but I honestly appreciate it, and this just speaks to Filoni's artistry and his talents in storytelling. Like, I would much rather have 15 minutes jam-packed with valuable information that actually is relevant to the storyline than having a bunch of filler junk that doesn't impact the story or the characters in any way just for the sake of making it 30 minutes. So it was truly astonishing what Filoni was able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. I mean, if we really put this into perspective, he gave us, at least me, what I feel like is a full picture into Dooku's descent into the dark side in all of 3 episodes? That's all. And for Anakin, it took how many movies, how many shows, and even at the end it was like okay, I guess, yeah, I can kind of see why he so easily fell to the dark side. But with Dooku, in those short episodes, it was very clear that he was not okay with how the Jedi was going, the Republic was going, and it made all his echoes from Clone Wars very clear to me of why he was able to lead the Separatists and why he truly believed that that was the only path forward. There was no way where the Jedi could come out being uncorrupted or being a good path forward because they were so in the pants. I don't know if that's right to say. They were so enthralled by... They were so consumed with the Senate that they became synonymous with the Senate instead of the Jedi having their own ethics and then the Senate being separate. They allowed themselves to be combined, and with that comes the corruption. So I really love this show. I feel like it could have been all about Dooku. He's such a unique Sith Lord. He's so elegant and he brings his style into everything. Not only to the way he fights, which is probably the most obvious, but to the way that he speaks. So for instance, in Clone Wars, oftentimes when he's talking to the Jedi, he's challenging their wisdom and their ethics. And a lot of times it's true what he's saying, right? So I feel like he's one of the first Sith Lords that truly believes in what he's doing. Dooku didn't just get off on killing people and being evil for evil's sake. So he doesn't seem like just a mindless puppet that's just doing stuff for the sake of being evil. It really seems like he's serving a higher good or a higher purpose. Even though it was very much the dark side that Palpatine was just manipulating him to get to his end goal and to keep him in the game until he got to Anakin. But I really love that Filoni took a character that was like a throwaway character. He turned Dooku into someone that we were rooting for, that we connected with, and to a certain point kind of felt bad for the amount of times that not only him but his voice was overlooked or muted. This goes to speak to what I truly love about Star Wars and what George Lucas really brought to life here, right? Is that at every point of our lives, at some point, we're the villain and we're the hero, right? We're the protagonist and we're the antagonist. No one leaves this world unscathed. So I truly appreciate how Filoni brings that, inspiration from George Lucas into the show to really show the parallels between Dooku and Ahsoka. That even though they both were betrayed by the Jedi Order, two different outcomes, right? Dooku feels betrayed by the Jedi, so he joins the dark side. And Ahsoka, also betrayed by the Jedi, creates her own path. And just to further dig into this, to me, Dooku's fall to the dark side made so much more sense than Anakin's. Because you can see where his passions and where his morality stands. To me, they were both very disillusioned to the Jedi Order. These were guys that were brought into the Jedi Order, and they all are, from babies. They're trained a certain way, to think a certain way, to do things a certain way. And babies grow up and they develop minds of their own, questions of their own. It doesn't seem like, which was confirmed in this show, that the Jedi did not welcome questions. So anyone who didn't agree with that, I guess you have to join the dark side if you're the only ones willing to answer your questions. So I think Dooku's stances came from very deep convictions that no amount of Jedi jargon or training was gonna silence that quiet voice in his head where he knew in his heart of hearts what was right and what was wrong. And if the Jedi weren't gonna do it, then he was gonna do it. So I feel like Dooku took his questions or his ethics and his stances to the place where he thought they would be appreciated, and that was Darth Sidious. And while I'm at it, talking about Dooku and Anakin and the parallels there, I couldn't help but think back to how Anakin with Ahsoka, that a lot of times she helped him pull back, right? Rein back some of his dark side coming out. So we see a little bit of that in Tales of the Jedi, but Qui-Gon was doing that for Dooku. We see him let go of the senator's son, like, go save your dad because my master's about to freaking murder him. So I thought that was cool to see, as much as there are no attachments, how the attachment of the Padawan to master helped them make the right decisions, even whenever they're so overcome by their emotions or when they see injustice, they just want to make it right immediately. So I really like seeing how as masters, they were very similar. This is very much of the do as I say, but not as I do type of parenting, if you will. With that being said, there's also a parallel of obviously Dooku and Ahsoka and how the Order betrayed both of them. And not only that, but I couldn't help but think, like, Palpatine or Darth Sidious would not have been able to accomplish this huge strategy over centuries if the Jedi had not first betrayed Dooku and Ahsoka and Anakin and countless others. They didn't just fall one time because of one mistake. There were a series of mistakes, a series of overlooks. I don't know if that's a word. And we saw the consequences of that. So I really love this show. I just wish that the episodes, were longer selfishly because I just wanted more. But I deeply appreciate how this was not simply a nostalgia cash-in for those of us who love Clone Wars. They really didn't just throw in the same animations that we love, bring back Ashley Eckstein to do Ahsoka just for a cash grab. They gave us something new, they gave us something fresh, and something that added value. So I really, really hope they come out with new episodes. I mean, there's so many stories that were never really explored during this era. My own personal opinion, I think it's like the richest time for Star Wars story that weren't fully explored. There's characters and backstories and side stories that happen that we don't really have a full picture of. Even if it's about Yoda's past or Qui-Gon or Plo Koon, my gosh, I loved him. Even seeing him when he first recruited or abducted. I don't know where you stand. Kind of questionable, but anyway, whenever Plo Koon goes to get Ahsoka to bring her to the Jedi Order. And I mean, I would love to learn anything else about the Sith. I mean, geez, especially with Sidious, like in the comics and stuff, he's just the personification of evil. Like, I'm pretty sure he like murdered all his family in the comics. So even if it's about him and how he rose to influence or anything, Tales of the Sith, like, hello, I'm here for it. So in my next videos, I'll be dissecting all the episodes with my overall reaction, so be sure to check those out. In the meantime, let me know in the comment section below how you felt after watching Tales of the Jedi, what you liked, what you didn't like, and do all the YouTube-y things of like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that we can stay friends and continue to enable one another's Star Wars addictions, because I'm here for it. I don't know if that was a good wink. I'm not a good winker. But much love and God bless.